All right, everybody, welcome back to one of our favorite sponsors, Diet Smoke. Diet Smoke is known for their premium THC gummies, all derived from 100% American-grown hemp. What I love about it is different flavors and different levels. So if you want to just chill and keep it here, you're good. You want to take it to another place, you're good. And all of the flavors are amazing. Diet Smoke has an exciting offer exclusively for you. Right now, you can try delicious and potent gummies for free. All you pay is $3 for shipping. To claim your free summer bundle, go to dietsmoke.com/Virzi and use bonus code SUMMER at checkout. That's dietsmoke.com/Virzi and use code SUMMER at checkout to claim your free summer bundle. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Virzi Effect podcast show. My name is Paul Virzi, and you guys listening to episode 579. I know we were off for a couple of weeks. I was running around. I was traveling. I was in northern Idaho. I was in Atlanta. Then I came back for 2 days. Went to Tampa. It's been nuts. I want to thank everybody who came out to the shows, dude. Sellouts in Tampa. I'm not going to lie. It was incredible. And now I'm back with the Virzi Effect and in studio here in New York with a guest that I wanted on the show for a long time. This dude is New York as New York gets. Like I'm Westchester, New York, and I come into the city. I've been coming into the city so much, I can definitely claim New York as my city, but this dude is New York, New York. He has a special on HBO Max. He is moving in the business, moving up in the business, getting those socials up, and somebody that I remember seeing at the stand, and I felt like for a young comic, he saw it early, and he saw it different. Ian Lara, it's Lara, right?
Yeah, Lara.
Lara.
Yeah.
Because I know what that's like. Because people say Virzi, and it's like, dude, it's Virzi. And it's like, get my shit right. It's 5 letters. Your shit is 4 letters.
Yeah.
But I always heard it was Ian Lara. Is that
Lara? Yeah, because I guess it's like Zara.
Okay, so So Ian Lara is on the show. Thank you for being here, dude.
Thank you for having me, man.
Congratulations on the HBO special, and congratulations on I see what you're doing, man. We were just talking before this shit started. Yeah. It's a clips game right now.
Yeah. This is what you got to do. I held out for a while. I didn't want to, because we were talking off air. I felt like I was one of the last from the old school. I started in 2011 from that class before, where you were just like, you just get good, and then you don't have to publicize everything. You just get good, and then the things will happen. But now that's not the case. You got to really go out there and get it yourself.
Yes.
Plus you got to get the things that'll happen too. So I'm on it now, and it's helped. It does help. It does help. The problem with all these things is, like, if you're doing the work, then everything is good. But then it gets muddied a little bit, right, with the people who...
Yeah, it's weird. It's like I'm in the best place that I've ever been stand-up wise, and like it means so much to go to northern Idaho. I went to all these places, and people like loving it. And I'm not gonna lie, and I'm really not saying this to be arrogant. Mikey, you've been in here since I've been talking on the show for a long time. But like when these people stand up and get standing ovations in a comedy club where half of the people are there for me and the other half are fans that want to see me or heard about me. Yeah. You know, I'm getting a lot of this right now. I'm getting a lot of, somebody was here last night and said I need to come and see you. So I'm getting a lot of people coming in the room to judge, but they heard on good things, and then to deliver that feels good. But now here's what you got to do. Now you got to take that, you got to cut clips, and you got to let everybody else see it, because it's not like the old model, where the old model was just like you kill and you get shit.
Right.
Now people are getting shit because they know how to manipulate the internet.
Yeah. That's how it was. You could. I mean, back in the day, you do a Tonight Show set that did well, and your career would change. The second time I did the Tonight Show, they posted like one of the clips they posted did like 5 million on on all the socials, and it did nothing.
It's weird. It's weird how you think shit that you would get. Like, and I'll even say this, like, Netflix is incredible, and Netflix is an incredible platform, but Netflix platform has kind of been like now the YouTube platform.
Yes.
Where it's like, as long as it's accessible.
Yeah.
As long as it's accessible and people can see it, and you can cut clips and do that now. But it really is, I would say this is the first time in show business history where you are really more important than... This is the first time where the performer's more important than, I would say, agent, manager, and studio executive right now, right?
I mean, yeah, it's a serious conversation. If you have a special right now and you get an offer from, like, let's say Netflix or HBO, whoever, it's a serious conversation to have. As like, do I want to just release this on YouTube for free?
That is, dude.
That's like a realistic conversation you got to have with yourself.
That is exactly why you're on the show, because you see that. Here's how I know that Ian knows his shit. When I did my album Night at the Stand in 2015, you were like 4 years in, you were a young buck, and you said something that made me go, wow, he knows. You said, I loved your album, but I wish it was visual, because the act outs and some of the bits that I did, you go, that would play for a special. And like a year later, I was listening to, and I was like, yo, he's right. Like that there were a couple things like the NFL ref, and there were a couple of things.
I mean, I still think you should probably I think you should record that at least now. That's, I mean, for the content, no one knows. Like you could do it. But it's certain albums that I heard, like, because back then you used to do albums. That was the thing. Now you do comedy 2 years, you release a special. Now that's what it is. That's what the motto is. You do open mics for 2 years and then you release your hour. But back then you used to work for a ton of years, and then you would do your album, and then the album would pop, and then you'll get the special. So there's like a couple albums that I heard, like when Hannibal had his first album, I was like, oh, it's not visual. My Name is Hannibal is just the album. And I was like, damn, I wish you would have recorded it. Yeah, I wish I could see it. And I thought that too when I heard your album. But from the time I saw you, like, because I'm a New York dude, sometimes you see comedians and you're like, all right, this person's good, this person's funny. And then sometimes you see comedians and then you're like, I know exactly what he's talking about, just because kind of like I grew up like knowing those people. And I, like, when I saw you, I was like, oh shit, I know exactly what he's talking about. You had a bit, I don't want to butcher it, but I think it's on the first album where you talk about like the pizzeria, pizza shop guys, and you're like, nah, he's a bad father. And I had those pizza guys. Like I grew up by like an Italian pizzeria.
So
those were the guys. Like that's how they spoke, and I was like, yeah, I know exactly what that is. So I thought it was super funny. Sometimes I think about like growing up, because like before Trump, it seemed like we had like, especially in New York, there was like a relationship where like people would say things that I guess now looking back at it, it might have been racist, but back then it didn't feel that way. It was just what it was. Like you would walk into an Italian restaurant and they would say stuff and we would just laugh together. Like I didn't feel like it was any hate or anything like that.
I really think this, and I know shit. I never really get. This is what I think. And as somebody that, and I talk about it in the Netflix special, I didn't vote for Trump or Biden. I voted for Eli Manning, and that's real. I did it right in for Eli. That's real shit. I didn't vote for Trump or Biden. But I think what happens is, I think you're right. I think when the narrative becomes somebody that the public either loves or hates, when a polarizing figure, when the word racist gets on a polarizing figure, it's almost like when rape gets on somebody. And it's like, it's really hard to, and he's going, no, I'm not. Everybody, and the people that hit him go, yeah, you are. But now you're right. Now you can't joke. Now I can't joke with my friend if I had an Indian friend and I wanted to bust his balls about Indian food or him being Indian, and then he comes back and cracks at me about being Italian. Now if you do that, it's almost like, now if you do that, it's like these feelings. It's a weird thing between people. You're gonna go home going, man, did they mean it like that? That's what sucks, because we grew up in New York. New York was snapping on you for what you were, right?
But that's the thing too, because I mean, I think I would say Trump is also a New Yorker. I'd say he's from that. I'm not sure that he's like this racist that the racists are hooking onto.
He's a New Yorker.
I think he's just a New Yorker.
He's a New Yorker who talks shit.
You talk shit. You say things about people. That's just how it is. Like, I know that guy. And I think the people who support him see him as like, it's like when there's a comic is doing the things on stage and it's like, he's just joking, but there's people in the audience that's like, yeah, women should be. And you're like, no, those are just jokes.
It's funny you said that, because I did this joke. I'm doing this joke about, I was joking about a transgender thing. I made the joke about me joking about transgender. So it was, and one person was like, and they want him, and I'm going, no, dude, this is this is like, I'm joking about if I would joke about that.
When they don't get the sarcasm.
They don't get the sarcasm, and then you see real mean evil people going
yeah.
like, yeah, get those pieces, and you're going like, nah, dude, this is you.
Yeah,
this
like
is
I'm
you.
sure if you were in the office with Trump, he would be laughing at this shit. Like he's like, they're taking this shit seriously. Like this is just me talking shit. I know people who have been around, and they're like, yeah, he is like that. He'll just be like, I don't know.
Well, they show clips of him on the golf course.
They're eating this shit up.
And he was on the golf course, and there were people talking shit to him, heckling.
Yeah.
And he just put his head down, laugh, and then he looked back, and he would just talk some shit back.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
I mean, he's in New York. That's the thing. Like I tour all over the country when you go to these places, and you don't want to be like, oh, New York this, but it's like it is different. Like it is different. Like it's a melting pot. You're around so much people that it's just. I mean, you might say things that might read if you read them on paper, it might sound racist, but when you're in that community, it's not. Like it's just what it is. Like
I loved making fun of, like I loved getting made fun of.
Yeah.
When people would make fun of my Italian background and how my dad, acted, and I loved that.
Yeah.
And then I loved going back and saying something to somebody else, and then like, sometimes the person would take it a little too far, and you'd be like, man, fuck you. But it was always like with love. You're a New Yorker, dude, because I saw you pulled up in. I think one time, did you pull up at the stand in Tim's and shorts?
Yeah,
you came up in Jada Kiss style.
Yeah, I'm really New York, man.
You are New York.
I'm New York, Knicks, Giants, like just die hard. But like I remember I used to work at the airport, and I used to work at LaGuardia Airport. And
that's some New York shit.
Then, then it was like in the break room, it would be not really cliques, but it kind of was like. It was like, but with I used to like sit with the Italians and we would make fun. Like I would make fun of like all the black dudes would come sit with the Italians, and we'll be like, yeah, the moolies. Like we just make fun. That's just how you spoke, and they would laugh with us. Like it was just laugh. And I guess it's
because
there's
no malicious.
But it wasn't. Like,
no, but there's a difference between a racist joke that you're just joking around, and then really a hurtful. I actually think really hurtful, malicious racists don't make jokes.
Right.
Like,
they might be keeping more to themselves.
They keep that shit like they keep it quiet, and then they go home behind closed doors and they say some really awful shit.
Yeah.
I think people that throw stuff out in the open, like I remember, man, I think it was like Stanley Tucci said, the actor, when all of this stuff came out, when all of these, like, there was just like it was just like a really racial divide during everything, during pandemics and riots and protests. And he's like, I don't even want my friends coming up doing like racist jokes now. And I'm going like, well, then that's a little bit part of the problem though. Because if you start doing that, then all of a sudden now nobody knows what they could even say, and you're really even dividing friends, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if I can't do racist jokes with my friends, and I don't know what to talk about.
Dude, if you made fun of the shit I ate and said, Virzi, you're going to have, women do your laundry for you, I'm laughing at like like.
We would make fun of the Italians, the Jamaicans, the Chinese, even like the gay, like there was gay guys that worked there, and we would all mock each other. Like it would just be funny. Like they would make fun of us, we would make fun of them. It was just fun. I don't know. Like it was just funny. I mean, I feel like most things are still like that, but if you let social media
small
tell
groups.
it.
Yeah, I think for the most part, people are like what we're saying.
Yeah.
But then I think you get those like mad mobs that are small, but that's what the media clicks. That's what the media shows.
Right. Yeah.
It's like when they said Netflix had like a mass exodus after Chappelle's thing.
It was like
it was like 24 people
didn't come to work for like 3 days.
Yeah, and they like worked remote.
Yeah.
So they said that people walked out of the building. No, they came from home with signs, and there was like 12 of them, and the camera angle made it say hundreds. That's really kind of what we're living in.
Right.
Because I think the majority of people go, no, that's not the case. Like, you know what I mean? But you're not. So you're Latino, right?
Yeah, I'm Dominican. My mom and dad are both from the Dominican Republic, but I was born in Brooklyn and raised in Queens.
Oh, okay. What part of Queens?
Ozone Park, South Ozone Park.
Oh, okay. I lived in Queens for a little bit. I lived in Rego Park.
Oh, okay. I live in Rego Park now.
Oh, do you? Yeah, I lived about 63rd Drive and
I'm right by there.
Yeah, and Queens Boulevard.
Yeah. Not too far from there.
Death Boulevard, they call it, because people
kept dying.
That's just like Italy, dude.
Yeah.
If you just walk on Queens Boulevard, you get hit.
Yeah. That's just part of it.
You literally, if you live in Queens and you live near Queens Boulevard, you're playing Frogger. But no, man, I'm really happy for you, because I saw. It's really cool when you see, because I remember older comics, the class ahead of me, would see me show up young.
Yeah.
And you show up as the young comic, and you're 5-6 years in, and you're trying to get spots, and you're doing this and you're doing that, and you're hosting and all that. And that's where you were. Then I saw you doing that. Yeah. And then now you're, I remember you. I saw you leave this. I was outside with. Chris Italia. Shout out to Chris Italia from the stand. And you were like running around. going here, doing this spot, getting in your car, running around spots. And that's when you started really moving and shit. And I was just like, yeah, man, that's the hustle. But it is now a different game where a 6-year comic, a 5-year comic. And this should actually be motivating and inspirational right now to any comics listening to this that are kind of 4 or 5 years in. Like, you hold the destiny, like, you hold it now. Where, like, I remember I would be like, well, so, you call your manager up and you go like this. This is how it works, by the way. This is some inside baseball.
Yeah.
When you see Ian on HBO or you see me on Netflix or you see us do something on TV, this is how that worked. We're at home waiting for a phone call from our team.
Yeah.
And so it's out of our hands. So
we just do spots. That's it.
Yeah, we lay it down. So what we do is we do podcasts, we write, we do spots, we grow on the road.
That's it.
Then when the hour's ready, you have an agent and a manager call executives and they talk about you without you. You're home eating with your kids and shit.
Yeah.
You're home and all of a sudden, hey, we're talking, we got a meeting at 12.
Yeah, yeah.
So now your whole shit is based on their meeting at 12 that has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
And then they say to us, okay, they're thinking about it. We're going to know in a month.
Yeah.
Then a month comes, you're excited. Oh, yo, there was a strike.
Then a month comes and they get fired. The executive.
Oh, that's the other thing. That's the other thing.
The
by the way, they loved you, but listen,
got
man,
fired,
they're leaving. They're leaving, or they got fired. They're going to another place. And you go, well, what happened? Well, we're going to talk to the new people.
Yeah, and they're like,
but
the people don't want nothing to do with any project that the old people had. So
exactly. Or they don't like the comedy style of the old people that were there.
Yeah.
So then you're sitting there and they're like, hey, I'm just really sorry. Maybe there's nothing that we could do.
Yeah.
And then a new opportunity comes. And by the time we get that hour where we want, it's a long time and things have to happen. And then they go, hey, man, we're thinking about releasing your special in September. But you know what? Some came up. Maybe we go January. It's the beginning of the year. And you're just waiting.
You're just
the nice thing is today you could go, no. No more waiting. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna hire cameras, my people. I'm gonna edit it in 2 weeks, and the shit's coming out now. That's the beauty of now, and with the clips. And I think that anybody who wants to make movies, dude, I actually thought about that.
Yeah,
I actually thought about that. You're into acting, right?
Yeah,
I actually thought about that. I was thinking about getting like a low budget movie, getting my friends, getting actors, getting people. This person would get, and literally,
I'm surprised comedians haven't done that, especially with comedians making so much money. That's the only way to make a comedy right now.
And listen, big movies aren't anything anymore.
No,
now it's
you
all
can't
streaming.
make comedies.
You can't. No, you can, and it's going to go to streaming anyway. So I think you might as well do your own thing. I would love to get like my comedian friends together and do like a movie version of like what was that movie that Jon Favreau was? It Swingers? Yes.
Yeah, it was Swingers with him, and they stole like every shot. It was all like completely.
But like, it wasn't like low budget.
Yeah, no budget almost.
It was like no budget and like a loose script, right? Yeah. Like we're gonna show up to a bar and like they kind of had the plans for what was gonna be at the bar, but it would be like if Curb, I just showed up, it was kind of like Curb, where they were like, hey, the main goal is to say we're gonna do this, but
I think that'll work great,
dude. I think
all the shots at the Abbey were completely. They didn't have permits. And they couldn't afford to shut it down. Yeah. So everyone in the background of the bar shots, they're all just people drinking at that bar.
That's great.
They could only afford the corner.
Dude, and it ended up being like a hit. It's like, that's the thing.
I'm surprised they haven't done this, because you got to think with all, like, there's so many comedians doing great, like, and like you release a movie, let's say you film a movie, I know it costs a lot of money, but you release a movie like on, let's say, YouTube, and it does the views that some of these specials are doing. You release a movie that gets 10 million views on YouTube. Yeah. The next movie's on Netflix. You know, right? They're gonna give you the budget for the next
like
one.
if what they did with Clerks. Yeah. You know, Clerks was black and white, and they put their parents' credit cards together, and it ended up being, I heard it was like, or they got credit cards, and I heard it was $60,000. So I heard they got $60,000 worth of credit cards, black and white. It's shot in like 2 locations. It was low budget, just funny dialogue, funny characters, Jay and Silent Bob in the front, and then all of a sudden, Hollywood pays attention, going, oh, let's give what's his name, Silent Bob's Kevin Smith.
$27,000 it cost to make that movie.
No, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Jeez.
27 to I mean, dude, $27,000, man. I'm not trying to, flex, but like I could do that. I could do that shit on my own today, and we get your friends together, put together a funny script, and I kind of like the black and white thing. Like that's a kind of cool thing too.
You were part of it. You did those sketches, those Goodfellas sketches for the stand.
Dude, right? I love that.
Those were so good. I told Chris, I'm like, these are hilarious. I don't know why. I mean, only 2 were done. Maybe
we did a Goodwill Hunting, and we did and then we did Goodfellas.
And Goodfellas,
we did 2 Goodfellas, but the one that went viral was the one where
the stand was closing. Right?
Where the stand was closing.
Yeah, that was hilarious. It was you, Sean Patton, that was
and Giannis.
And Giannis.
Yeah,
was so funny.
But like those were like, if you do stuff like that now, that's huge.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Like
Those
this
were-
is the time. This is the actual time. But what you said is 100% right. This is the first time in history it's a conversation that if a big place came to you and said, let's do a special, you actually have to sit and go, is it better to do it myself?
Yeah.
This is the first time.
Yeah, it's the first
This
time.
is some Drake shit
Yeah.
from Drake did this in music. How long ago?
Yeah, I mean, when 2009 maybe, 2000 when he came out.
Unrepped.
Yeah.
And his own shit.
Yeah. In 2008, around that time, until Lil Wayne found him, and then Lil Wayne kind of took him into the mainstream. But yeah, he was unrep. I mean, nobody would sign him. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is now. And I think it's almost leaning to the point where like going with the major thing, it's probably not the best thing for your career in some instances. If you got like that base of followers, like you needed accessibility, and a lot of times with the big networks is you know they have a lot of other programming where your stuff is not as accessible as like YouTube has done tremendous things for like a lot of comics. But I think to the young comics, I would say I feel like part of it is like it's like a good thing where you can make it yourself, but it's also a bad thing because I'm from the school of like, you do spots, you host, you feature, you go headline shitty rooms for years, you get better, you build up the chops. You know, you go into these rooms where it's like in a shitty city, terrible audience, and you learn how to kill there. You get to the main room, you're like, you do it in your sleep. You're like, well, you telling me this
Right.
a
Well,
full house?
You're a pure, you know, you and I are similar in the way that we're comedy purists. Like, I'm ready no matter where you put me because I sat in bars, or, you know, someone's living room, you know, and then Madison Square Garden. So it's like when you have all of that under your belt, you're like, I'm ready for anything. I think it's not. It can be bad because it can make somebody a little lazy, is what you're saying, or it makes somebody go, "Oh, I'll just put my own cameras." But if you're not ready, if you don't have the chops,
And you know, as a comedians, like in all fairness to them, when I was 5 years in, I felt I had the chops. Everyone feels it, right, when they're at that time. But then you look back at it and you're like, "Oh no,
dude."
But at the time, we all feel like we're.
I'll be honest with you, now, I was actually talking to somebody about this on the way here. I'm so free on stage right now. Even though I had my voice at 10, 11 years, I think now is when I'm ready to say anything, do anything. I mean, I know that I do have a little bit of a base that trusts me now. And they're like, that's Paul. Like, if you're a fan of me, you let me talk. But now I truly, truly am in a different place. So when you look back 5 years, you're just not as good. And people have to look at that. You're not as good. But I think like, you know, a basketball player, right? Like you look at yourself, you come out of college, you come in the league. I look at RJ Barrett. You know, RJ.
And it's not to say you were bad. You were still a star. Or you were still like.
Look, RJ Barrett was still a starter in the NBA. But now he went to the playoffs. He had a big moment in some playoffs. I think he knows what it takes to move and get past around in the playoffs. That's the same thing in life. So right, it's not that you're bad. You're good enough to be in the league. But then you go to it gets elevated to different spots. So I wanted to talk to you about acting, because acting is something that I really like. I used to be afraid of, and now I'm having a lot of fun with. Same. You like it, right?
Yeah, I love it. I do. I really enjoy it. I think it's fun.
It is. It's like actually like if you're comfortable and you like who you are. Here's the key to acting. And it hit. And I was actually Chaz Palminteri and I talked about this. I was at Chaz's house. And he said this to me too. When you're comfortable with who you're working with, like if a director and you are like this, or like, and I don't mean like friends, I mean like if a director and you if the director goes, this is his strength, and this is what we're gonna have him do, you know, I was fortunate enough to be, I'm in the season finale of Pete Davidson's Bupkis, okay, and it's the last episode where Pete is in rehab, and I'm one of the guys in rehab with him, and I'm a gambler, I can't stop gambling on the Giants, and it's a funny thing, but they all knew. Like, I got on set, and they were like, hey, Paul, man, we love you. And listen, I know it's not always going to be like that. They're not going to always know the comedian. But when they're like, hey, go to your wheelhouse, man. We know how you are. And, like, when you're working with people that, like, really want to push your strengths and help you, acting is one of the most fun things you could do.
It is.
It's when you're with assholes that make things tense. That you're like, all right, man, that's not going to get the best out of me. Like, I always say, if I was in college playing sports, I would not be good with Bobby Knight. You grab me by the throat, you grab me by the throat, or like you start throwing chairs. I'm like, you're not gonna get the best of me. I'm good. I would be good with like a Joe Torre, Tony Dungy. I need a player's coach. I need a player's coach. Welcome back to one of our favorite sponsors, Diet Smoke. Everybody, Diet Smoke is known for their premium THC gummies and derived from 100% American-grown hemp. With Diet Smoke's vast selection, you can be confident there's a perfect gummy waiting just for you. Diet Smoke stands for quality and transparency. And with every product, third-party lab tests accessible via QR code on each package, you know you're only getting the best. Diet Smoke cares about their customers so much so, if you're not completely satisfied with your experience, they have a money-back guarantee. I got to be honest. That's basically a company saying, if your high isn't as good as we think it's going to be, we're going to do. They're like getting you feeling great, and they're like, if it's not great enough, we got you, which is incredible. I love them because I like the different flavors, and you guys know me. I don't like to get crazy high, so I kind of take the chill blend. But if there's a time I want to sit down on the couch, watch a comedy, and take it to another level, they got me covered as well. So make sure you check out Diet Smoke. We have an exciting offer exclusively for you from Diet Smoke. Are you ready for this? You can now try their delicious gummies for free. Yes, you heard it right, absolutely free. What I love about Diet Smoke is there was a time I was chilling. I wanted to just keep a light high, not too crazy, feel mellow. They had me covered. Not to mention, it was like blueberry flavor. It was insane. They have you covered with the flavors as well. Claim your free summer bundle. Visit dietsmoke.com/Virzi and use code SUMMER at checkout. That is SUMMER at checkout. This amazing bundle includes 3 different strengths, 3 different flavors, giving you a variety of options to enjoy. Just cover the $3 shipping and you're all set. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to experience the flavors, the benefits of Diet Smoke's gummies. That's dietsmoke.com/Virzi. Use code SUMMER at checkout to claim your free summer bundle today.
I think, yeah. When I first started acting, when I first started like doing auditions and stuff, like my agents, they would send me auditions and stuff, and I had a hard time. Like, obviously, they would just send me comedy, and I had a hard time because you would read it and you're like, I don't see the funny in this. Like, it was hard for me to find the funny in some of the scripts.
Right.
And then I started working with like an acting coach that kind of helped me find like because you're trying to be like, but I don't see this as fun. Like, I don't see this as funny.
Yeah,
if I were doing it with a person,
right,
I could try to be fun. I could say it funny, but on paper it was tough for me to see it on funny. But it's like you said, when you find like something in your warehouse. Like, I remember the first time my agent sent me like a audition for like a drama. I forgot what the show was. But it was a scene for like a guy. It was a guy who was he was drunk at a bar, and he leaves the bar and he runs into his dad, and he's like, he's gonna have it out with his dad. Like, he's drunk and he wants to say all the things that he wanted to say to his dad. That was the scene. And I have a great relationship with my dad. That wasn't at all. But I was like, I know this guy. Like, I know, I've seen this guy. I know the drunk guy that wants to say the shit to their parents. And I remember I sent the audition and I got a call back from like all my agents. They were like, dude, this is like a great, you're like an actor. I'm like, nah, I just was able to connect with that. Like, it's all about that, like being able to connect with the character.
Yeah, I think with a stand-up, we're so real in what we do that sometimes it's hard for us to, like, we're so real that when you see something that you're like, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, right.
And I remember when I did the movie with my part got cut out, but I was I think the fans of the show know I was gonna play Pete Davidson's dad. In the
firefighter movie?
in King of Staten Island. Yeah. And the scene was great, man. And Judd was so cool. He actually texted me. I found out, I felt down because I was like, dude, like, they were like, yo, there's a buzz on set about your scene. And then Pete was like, yo, Judd just said, wait till you see Paul as your dad. And people were calling me up, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, they changed the arc of the movie, and they made the opening heavy. If you remember what happened at the opening, he's driving in the car, he closes his eyes. They thought that my scene would be too much for the thing. So they were just like, it had to be cut, but everything was good. But when I looked at the scene, I'm going, I don't know if I'd say that as a fireman. Yeah. So then, but the cool thing was, they were like, no, they were firemen on set, real ones.
Oh yeah, they just had them there.
And friends of Pete's real dad.
Yeah.
So like,
they were just there.
So they were like, some of them were there, some were background, some of them were in the firehouse extras. So I'd be like, hey man, I feel like I would say this, and they were like, yeah, say, like, do it a little bit like what is on here. Yeah. But then after that, just go. Yeah. And like, when you have somebody that goes, no, just find the funny because we trust you. Yeah. Or like, you're gonna find something funny. So picture if you were a fireman. But what funny, so like what funny Paul would say or funny Ian would say in real life, but put that as a fireman.
As a fireman,
and that was, and I was like, oh my God. And then you're like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of like comes with also like having the confidence. Because at first I would get auditions and I would just read it exactly how it was.
Yeah.
But now you send me an audition and I honestly, like, I'm going to go obviously with what you send me, but I'm going to say what I think is funny. I'm going to try to make it like funny for me. Like for me, if you like it, then you like it. But this is what I think is funny. Right. I don't want to send you something that you sent me. And I don't think, like, I'm like, I don't want to send you something, but I'm like, I know this is not funny for me.
This is not funny. And even if I read it as me, it's not funny.
It's not funny. For me, like, there's some people who, you know, it might be funny for, but I can't do this funny. So I kind of, I'll be like, I wouldn't say this. I wouldn't say it like this. I kind of will say it like this. And I'll just send it. And if you like, either way, I'm not getting the role. So it's not like, you know, it's not like this is the thing that's keeping me out, you know?
Yeah. Dude, I had one that was so bad, Ian. I think, like, I actually felt like, you know when you bomb on stage?
Yeah.
I actually felt like I bombed the audition to the point where I had that same feeling in, like, the afternoon when I walked out. They wanted me. I think I might have said this on the show a long time ago. If I did, I apologize. But it was this thing, and I walk in, they want me. I was a pizza delivery guy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm a New York pizza delivery guy. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go in with a Yankee hat on.
Yeah.
Because I had a Yankee hat on anyway.
Sure.
And you know what? That seems like a Yankee hat seems like what a pizza delivery guy in New York City would do. So I walk in with that decision, and right when I walk in, they go, hey, can you please take your hat off? No, that was, dude, that was...
You're like, I got nothing.
Yo,
this was the big thing. This is the big thing that was going to get him.
That was... Yeah, all right, I'm done.
I got nothing.
That was the first thing that happened. And I just throw my hat to the side, and now I'm worried there's a mark on my head and the whole thing. And then they go, all right, can you look into this camera and say your name and everything like that? And I say it, and they go, no, you have to look in the camera. Dude, it was already.
I've had those.
I'm 2 strikes before we got started, and then I just did it, and they were like, oh, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
And I walked out, and I remember calling my manager going, dude, that went so bad. That went so bad. And they were like, you know, trying to make you feel better.
Yeah,
Like, it probably wasn't as bad. You know, like, we'll find out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, dude, I'm not getting that part.
Yeah.
But I think, like, that was early on when, like, I was scared of acting.
Yeah.
And George Carlin, the great George Carlin, top 5 of all time to do this, he said acting never came easy to him because it was so hard for him to let go of the real. When you're a real dude, when you're a
same
real,
things, do same thing. Like I struggle with, like, I really gotta get into the character. I struggle being like, this isn't me and this is fake. Like,
right.
Fake.
And an actor can really look at it and really transform.
Yeah.
Where as a stand-up, all we are is us.
Yes.
We're on stage. All we can do is be as real as possible as us. Now we gotta transform. I was on a set not long ago, and somebody goes, "You have to act like you were petrified to be punching it. We're in a melee.
Yeah.
We're in a melee fight.
Yeah.
And you go, you have to really act like you're not with the guys getting beat up, and you have to, like, kind of beg and let the people know because you're about to get the shit kicked out of you." And for a second I go, all right, I really put myself there.
Yeah.
Like, I really had to be like, you don't want to get hit. And it's a fine line, but once you get it, it's fun as shit.
Yeah.
It's fun as shit.
Yeah.
Man.
It's so tough because you'll be like, I would never beg not to get hit. You know, I would just get hit.
Yeah, the real New Yorker was like, fucking hit me, man.
Knock me the fuck out. I don't care.
Yeah. And he's like, the director was like, you just make sure just you are not with these guys, and you want to let that person approach, and you know you are not with these guys. And in my mind, I'm like, I had to just let it go, because in my real New York, I'd be like, dude, if we're fighting with friends,
I'll get my ass kicked, no problem. Yeah, that's part of it, dude. I've had bad auditions where, like, I walked out, I thought they were gonna shut down production. I was like, I thought they were gonna. I don't think they're gonna make this film anymore after they saw me do this. They're like, I don't think this is a good film.
You think it's so bad, all of a sudden they're like, you know what, man, we're not gonna invest money in this movie.
This is not a good film.
Dude, that would be so funny if they pranked you.
Yeah, they're like, dude, they're shutting this whole thing down after they saw what you did up there. They don't think anyone could.
Oh my God, you made me realize something, dude. This is crazy. Mikey, where are we at time-wise?
You're at 30.
Okay, perfect. Dude, this happened, so I guess I could say that. All right, so there's a director, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to want me to say this because I don't know if it's going to be, so I'm not going to say. So this dude is an independent filmmaker out of Massachusetts, okay? He made a movie about OxyContin and pharmacies being robbed by OxyContin, like pharmacies being robbed.
The Hulu movie?
No, is that new?
No, there was a Hulu short series. It's not a movie, it's a series.
Oh, no. This was a movie.
Oh, okay.
This is a
About
standalone
OxyContin,
movie
yeah.
about, like, how, like, back in the day in Charleston, it was actually kind of same time around the town was made, but kids were putting on masks and they were going into pharmacies with guns and they were getting all the oxy out and stuff. And this kid made this movie, and actually for an independent movie did really good. So he sees me perform.
Yeah.
He saw me perform, and he was, hey, man, you're real funny, blah, blah, I'm doing this thing. So anyway, long story short, I get a phone call. And he goes, hey, man, I know this is last minute, but we're making a movie about underground. Tom Sizemore, the late Tom Sizemore, who passed away, he was in it. Because we're making this movie about underground UFC fighting to the death. This guy, his son gets kidnapped. He's an ex-UFC fighter. To get his son back, he's got to fight to the death, this underground thing. And I think you can be like one of the first UFC guys, like he fights, but it's like in this underground thing. Can you be in Connecticut like tomorrow or whatever? And I was like, how much money? The money's not good. So this dude, I guess, I don't know if he told him I was a fighter or ex-fighter, dude. I just show up and I'm like training. I'm doing this shit. I have no idea what's going on. And I think they found out that I wasn't they found out that I was a comedian. Because one of the people on the set goes, oh, so what, you were like an ex-fighter or something? And I'm like, oh, no, dude, I'm a stand-up. I just know. And like all of a sudden, they're like rumblings on the set. And now I'm like, and it put me in a weird spot. Yeah. Because like I think they're talking, going, yo, this dude's a friend of somebody. This dude's a stand-up comedian. And I think they were like, what? Like we were in a movie here. Yeah. And he's got to go there. And they were like, he's like, no, just you're gonna wear like a Scully, and you're gonna have Timbos on, and you're gonna have jeans and like a white thermal, and you're gonna go on and just learn. We'll choreograph it. And I'm there for like 9 hours jumping around. Apparently during a lunch break, I guess a producer and somebody started talking, and all of a sudden, my boy just yelled, because he was like a part producer of it. He just yells, yo, I swear to God, this is real. I'm just waiting there, just chilling. And he just goes, yo, does somebody got a fucking problem? Is somebody talking about me and my boy who's on set right now? Yeah. And all of a sudden, everybody, and I'm just going like,
you're like, I didn't even know people were talking about me.
I didn't even know. And he's like, yeah, because this is my fucking boy, and he's playing the part. And if people want to talk, they can come and talk, or I'll shut this shit down. All right, because I'm producing. And dude, I'm like, and we're like hours more. We have hours left. Yeah. And I'm just going like, now it all hits me that like they got me probably low budget, like, they got me last minute to be in a movie. Yeah. They're giving a stand-up comedian some money. They're making me look the part of a fighter, and I could do enough to be the first guy that gets killed.
I get knocked out.
Yeah, I'm gonna get knocked out or killed, or get choked out. But like, dude, the whole thing shut down, and then they just came up like, hey man, no problem, dude, it's not you, it's all good, let's go and do it. And I ended up doing it, and it's a B movie, whatever it was, but that was nerve-wracking, dude.
See, this is like you reach an interesting point in your career, because for a long time, like, you're grinding out, right? You're going on the auditions, you walk in, nobody knows who you are, so you just audition, you go, you bomb the audition, you leave, nobody remembers your name, don't remember nothing about you, that's fine. But then you accomplish some things, right? You do some TV spots, people start seeing you, then people start reaching out to you to do these things. Yeah. And then it's hilarious when they reach out to you and then you don't get it. Cause it's like, you searched me out. You thought I would be good for this. I came in and then you were like, nah, he won't be. Like, I was wrong. That's so funny, but all the time, all the time. Yeah. Where people search me out, they're like, I saw you on this, you will be great, and then I'll come in, and they'll be like, never mind, you wouldn't be good.
Yo, get Ian Lara for that, man. I saw him on thing, and then you go in and and they're just like, listen, man, we love your stand-up.
Yeah, but I don't think,
maybe we'll.
They're like,
we'll
love your stand-up, but I don't think you could play a stand-up. I don't think you could play a stand-up from New York. I don't think this is you.
Dude, that's really funny. Because I think they know what they're looking for, and I think it's the same thing with stand-up too. I asked somebody at Montreal, when do you know when somebody does an audition? Actually, I asked Robbie Pro, who's now Netflix. Yeah. Robert. And we were talking in Montreal Comedy Festival, and I go, when you audition, because I had already been in Montreal for a while, I was there, and I go, when you audition these comics for new faces, and you audition these comics, and this guy was the head guy for 12 years there. I go, when do you know? And he said to me, and for any young comic, and I always tell young comics that talk to me about going to Montreal, getting Montreal, which is, for anybody that doesn't know, Montreal Comedy Festival is just it's a festival where the best comedians from around the world get together towards the middle of end of July, and you just do showcases, and
I'm going this year for the first time.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. I did New Faces a couple years ago, but it was during the pandemic, so it wasn't in Montreal. It was in LA.
Okay.
But now I'm doing Variety's comics.
I did, I never did, Variety's Comics to Watch.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
right. So Variety does something at Montreal called the 10 Comics to Watch, and Ian was on that. I read that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So when you go to Montreal, it's the top comics in the world, and I didn't do New Faces. I ended up doing like 14 shows in 10 days. I did a relationship show. I did this. I did then the next year I came in. I did a gala. Then I waited a couple years. I think the last time I was there, I was like 17-ish, for Kevin Hart's LOL, the live taping.
When they were doing all those.
But for anybody that doesn't know, Montreal for a comedian is basically like NBA All-Star Weekend. That's how I look at it. It's NBA All-Star Weekend. It's all
especially those last 2 weeks. Last week.
It's all the time, and you'll be in the lobby at the Hyatt drinking after your shows, and everybody walks in. You see everybody. You name a comedian, they're walking around in there. I've seen Chappelle in there all of a sudden, but you'll see actors and hosts, Seth Meyers. Like it's just where to be in July if you do stand up. And so I asked, I go, when do you know when you audition somebody? You know what he said? He was like, man, like a minute and a half. And I told a young comic once who was auditioning, I go, from when you grab the microphone, I'm talking about from when your name gets called.
Yeah.
From when you walk on stage, grab the microphone out of the stand and put the stand to the side and go in. In my opinion, that's being watched because I can watch that now. I can watch that and I could tell because it's just somebody that, and I knew it took me my third audition. I got it.
Yeah.
I had one audition where I was hands down the best one, and then the second one I had a good set, and they were like, well, he killed so hard on the first one. The second one was like a good set. So I was like, oh, so you need to be undeniably murder, so they have to take you.
But when I did New Faces, I auditioned 5 times for New Faces, 5 times, and like all my friends had gone. By the last time I auditioned, I was just like, I had a good set, but it was one of those, I didn't feel fun after it because I was kind of killing with anger. Like it was kind of like where I'm like, are you guys fucking kidding me? Like I didn't know the guys who were on the audition. All my friends had gone already.
Patrice O'Neal said, rest his soul. He said, you get things in this business 3 years after you're supposed to. Yeah. And you probably had that little like, man, fuck you.
I had come from the cellar. I'm like, I'm doing cellar. I'm at the cellar every night, and I'm auditioning where like, I should have went years ago. So it was like an angry thing where like, I was just like, and I like blew the light, and I was just like, bang, 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 bang. Cause I was just like, you guys like, I just felt like you guys had admit. Cause sometimes, listen, they're people, sometimes they can't get everyone, right? Sometimes they do, you do slip under the thing. Like,
no, they can't get everybody. And one thing that I've learned too, and I don't want to be too inside baseball on the show, but yeah, listen, they're gonna take you. Sometimes it's never personal.
Yeah, it's not
never personal, man. Yeah. That's the one thing. It's being told no. But I think in a lot of jobs you're told no. Yeah. Right? Like if you're like what about like let's say if you're a lawyer, the thing in lawyer, right, Mike, is you want to make partner, right? So making partner of a law firm, and then they're probably like, hey man, not this year. Not this year. Hey man, Smith is gonna make part, and you're probably going like, I've been here. Look at my cases. Look at what I've done. I should be partner. Yeah, but it's not this year. It's not. And one thing that this business will teach you is like you'll get a bunch of no's.
Oh man, I'm a big proponent of that. Like I feel like we live in a culture now where like you look at like the Michael Jordan doc, or you look at like the Mamba mentality, and the way that those things are filmed and framed, it's kind of like, oh, win by any means. But like life is really about losing. Like you just lose all the time.
Every success story is somebody that lost.
Yeah, like, I want to make a documentary just about losing, where I never win.
Actually, they did. I think they did.
Oh, they did. Did they do that?
Didn't they? Did it, Mike? Can you check? There's a documentary on losing.
Yeah, you just lose. I think
it's just
and then you just continue to live
because That'd be funny if there was just a guy that never won. Yeah, like he lost and he thought all the losses, but it was just never. he's like, yo, I have never won.
Yeah, but I'm here to tell you, it's still okay though.
Yeah, there's a documentary called Losers on Netflix.
Yeah,
athletes who turn agony into defeat.
There is no hope in that sentence. Yeah. But when I hear Kobe talk and I hear Jordan talk, it really is like, it's that corny cliche shit. But anytime you hear somebody go like, hey, dude, I blew out my knee. I never knew if I was going to get back again. And then all of a sudden you see him hoisting up a trophy. Like that happened this year.
Yeah.
Murray, right? On the Nuggets.
Oh, yeah. Murray.
Yeah, Murray came back.
Yeah.
Murray came back, and it's like that was you could see in his face when he was tearing up.
Yeah.
It's all the shit that you get to get there.
Right, yeah.
You know, when I said this, and I'll say it proud as many times as I can. Netflix did not want my special before they saw it, because they were like, "Hey, it's a lot of competition. We love Paul, but there's a lot of competition." And I knew what that meant. And then they saw it, and when they saw it, they go, "Oh, he brought it for an hour. He belongs here."
Okay.
And that made me.
That's better.
And for me, that's better. And that's kind of how I got Montreal.
Because listen, there's a lot of people out there. No disrespect to them, because they're killing it. But there's a lot of people out there that are getting approved on these things just simply off the following they got. Like, they
no. That's all. Let's be honest. Can we be honest?
Yeah.
That's all it is. Now.
Yeah.
Now you see somebody. There's somebody that will be doing comedy for 4 years and have 1 million followers.
Yeah.
And
that's why when you say don't take it personally, I'm like, I don't know, man. Sometimes it's personal. When they when they book somebody over you, it's like it's because you're not that.
Right, but it's not.
You know? But it's not because they don't like you.
It's not comedically.
Yeah, it's not about
like nobody's going.
Yeah.
But it's hard to not take that personally when the guy who's been doing comedy 6 weeks, but he has 1 million followers.
No, dude, I understand the frustration at that, but I don't think anybody's going, "Hey, dude, we got a vendetta against Mike Albanese."
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's hard to. Go ahead.
My first audition, I walked up, and who was the guy that was running it before?
Which one?
Jeff.
Jeff Singer?
Yeah.
I walked up, and as I grabbed the microphone, I saw him his stupid hat walking out of the room, and I was like, "Oh wow, that was personal. Like that was not a professional decision. He just went, nope, not him, and just left the room. I saw his dumb sweaty hat leaving the room and taking a left outside of the building, not even just a different room. He left the building.
He flew back to Canada.
You know, the truth is, if I had 2 million, and this is not to be arrogant, if I had 2 million followers right now, I pretty much stand-up wise, I think I would get every opportunity that I wanted. But here's the deal. I like that I'm working it, and I like that, you know, because the reason why I'm not a huge guy, you know, I really started late with social media, especially like things, you know, I had the Twitter and Facebook, and I kind of refused to do Instagram, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, all right, I had to go. You know, but you're the same, because we're in the same, that's what I mean. Like we're like the same guy, because I wanted the stand-up to be good. I cared about
that's where my equity comes from. Like my value is from like in the club killing. Like if you're not in the club killing, I don't care how many followers you have.
Like I don't care that the crowd goes nuts because you have a podcast.
I don't care.
And you get on stage and then all of a sudden the shit goes like that.
I don't care. You know? Like shout out to you. You're killing it. Like you're doing the things. But I personally don't care. Like
for me, it's about who throws it down.
Yeah.
And like I love when I'll get big guys that have 3 million followers, and guys that are really big, and guys that are selling out, going like, "Hey man, I don't want to follow you." So now I love the fact that now my next task is get these clips. So I put a clip out. It got 3 million and 200,000. And you know what? Now I'm gonna.
You get addicted. You start to think it does get addicted. Like you start to think you're like, okay.
What sucks is when you put a clip out that gets 3 million, and then you put another one out that gets 20,000, and you're like,
well, that's the game though. I was working with a social media manager. You got to forget about that. You got to forget about the thing. Like some of them will hit, some of them won't. It has nothing to do with you. That's the thing now.
It's like spreads like wildfire, or it doesn't, right?
Yeah, it's literally a computer on wherever the computer exists that's making careers for people completely arbitrarily. The computer doesn't know when it's a good bit. The computer doesn't know if it's hack. The computer doesn't know what it is. Like the computer just, a couple people like this, let's share this. Now this person is viral, and now they get followers, and now they're selling out, now they're doing theaters. Like it's just a computer that's created. It's AI that's making careers for people, which is like, look, that's the game now. I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying, especially coming from New York, like, you know, when you're a New York comic, especially a New York comic that's bouncing around, like I do spots, I work every club in the city. I've gotten to a point where I can go into any club in the city and work it. It took me 12 years to get here, but you go on the road, and when you do a thing, you're like, okay, it is different. It is different from like the people who are like on stage doing the work and killing regardless of like. And it's killing for like not just because anyone can have a hot set one night, right? It's like
no, you're talking about somebody that
average,
somebody that like I would even think kills above average.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like your average is killing, like you batting 300, like you're batting 350.
Yeah,
you know?
batting 350 or more. Yes,
you can strike out. Everyone does, right? You can strike out on a game, but like for average, these guys, are, you know, a known killer. And those guys, look, I mean, it's always been like that. Those guys. They might not have the most famous or be the biggest, and that's just what it is. I'm okay with that though. Like I understand that. Like that's just the way the business works, right? Like just because this business is not just like you kill or you a great comic and you will have success. It's not just what it is.
It's not about being like all about being funny and killing. And if it was, it would be no. It's not what it is. It's like, you know.
Like I remember my first time seeing like Giannis. I was like, this guy is like, like. Because there's something about like comedians who's like, there's some comedian, and you're like this too, there's some comedians who like, you watch and you're like, all right, these are great jokes, great written like setup, punchlines, these are great things, the writing is great, and that's great, I'll laugh. But then there's people that's like, who seem like they're killing like, just like, naturally. And I hate that term because it's not, if you tell Giannis, he's like, it's not natural, I work at it. Like I work very hard to get these bits, but it just, I guess the key is to make it seem natural.
Right.
And like he has like a coolness on stage and like a relaxation, and then he just murders, like just start to finish murder, where you're just like, you see him on a show, like I'll see him on a show and you're just like, man, it's like, because I'll say this a lot in the city, there's a lot of comics who like, and I'm not trying to say anything, but there's a lot of comics who you see a lot on lineups who get like a good spot on every lineup. So, you know, the third guy up a lot, like they'll get that sweet spot. But it's only certain comics that go like first or last, like almost on every lineup. Because after him, it's like a cleanup. Like it's hard.
I like to go anywhere.
Yeah. No, I love to go third. Anytime I'm third, I'm like, oh, this is great. But I usually will go first on the thing. Like they'll have me open the show or go last on the show. Which I take it as a thing, but like when I go third, anytime I could go like third in the middle of the show, I notice there is a difference. Like the audience is like very ready for whatever I have to say.
Yeah, I think if you go second or third on a show, you know, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, they're just ready. It's not on you. It's just like the audience is ready. They've had a drink. They're settled in. They know what's happening. They're ready. You don't have to win them over. That is like a better spot. But like seeing like sometimes like you, Giannis, like you gotta put them at the end because like Giannis gets going, it's gonna be like
he puts me up for, you know, at the end or. I noticed too, Giannis and I usually get the same type of spots.
Yeah.
But it's all work and experience, right?
Yeah.
It's all work and experience. Like I've worked to where, you know, I was at where was I? I was at New York Comedy Club not long ago, and they had one of the biggest celebrity internet people. Who the fuck? And I went after it, and I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. Like, because it's fine. I actually like it.
Yeah.
You know, I like when people are like, oh, that person's hard to follow. It's like, because you're never going to change who you are. You're going to go and you're going to do what you do.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I want to talk to you about your personal life a little bit.
Yeah.
Married, kids, girlfriend, nothing?
No. Not married, no kids.
So now is that based on just career, or that the career is not the reason it just didn't come about?
I haven't resigned to the fact that it didn't come about.
Are you purposely not pursuing shit because of your career?
No. I would like to be. I would like to be married and have kids. Like I look at you guys who like who have gotten married and go out to like the suburbs. Like I'd see that. I want to do that. I'm working hard now. Like I'm getting it while I can. I'm young now. I'm in the city now. Like I'm outside. But this is not, I don't want to be the guy, you know, I don't want to be in my 40s and, you know, still running around like doing 5-6 spots a night. I don't want to be that guy. I want to have like the nice house in the suburbs with the family. Yeah.
No, you want to, and the only reason why I ask is because some people, and I think it's a big mistake. I think it's a big mistake when people are like, I'm going to get my career right and focus on that and not have a family. That's bad. Because then all of a sudden you're like this older dude who like now you either got to find a younger wife or, you know, and that's a tough thing, you know, and for what? For what? So fucking the Comedy Cellar will put you, you know what I mean? Like some people like, I just got to get those spots and you're like, yo, man, that's, you know, that it's that deathbed thing, right? What do they say on the deathbed? Those nurses.
Yeah.
Like
more time with my family.
More time with my family and work less. Like people, like everybody on their deathbed is going like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Like, what did I do, man? The other day, my daughter said to me, I came home. I was in Idaho and then Atlanta. I put my luggage down. I stayed home for 40-something hours. And my daughter, my 11-year-old Sophia, she goes, Man, she goes, you're leaving again? And when she said that, I was like, man, I'm cooling down with the spots now because pandemic told me I don't need to be up. Now I learned.
Right.
Well,
I was the same way.
I've been doing 20 years.
I thought you stop and you just get bad, and then the pandemic went away, and some people were still working, and I wasn't working that much, and I came back, and I'm like, oh, it's still the same.
I didn't get up for 5 months, but I got up quicker than most.
I didn't get up for like 3.5, almost
Me
4.
and Brett Ernst were like actually touring. I love Brett.
Yeah.
Me and Brett were actually touring because I had the antibodies earlier. I got COVID first week.
Me too. I got it for second week of March.
So you were able to work.
Yeah.
So guys like us, we were able to work, and I got up for the first time in 5 months in Tempe. No, not Tempe. CB's.
Yeah.
And I was
That's
like,
Arizona.
I was like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
Like I came back, I did an hour.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, my second hour was a little more rusty. My first hour back, I was like,
I went to Myrtle Beach. I was there for like Myrtle Beach. They were open.
What'd you do, Comedy Cabana?
Yeah. I did a week, which is like I hadn't done comedy in like 3.5 months, and I did a week where you do an hour you go there for a week, you do an hour every night. And the first few days I felt rusty, but by like the third, fourth day, I was like, all right, I'm back.
Yeah.
I got it.
Now, so you got COVID bad or no?
No, I was like fairly sick. I got it pretty bad after I got vaccinated, actually. Like the second, but it was just short. Like the first time I was sick for like 2 weeks, it wasn't terrible. But then the second time I got vaccinated, I got COVID, I was terrible, but it was just for like 24 hours. Then I woke up the next day and I'm like, I'm good.
You're good. Yeah. It was like a little. What, dude? Does anybody know what's going on with Jamie Foxx?
No, that's still not out.
Is there any like?
I heard he's home though.
Was that about the vaccination or no?
Is that what they're saying? That sounds
it's weird what they're saying. It's weird what they're saying because there's different things.
Yeah.
I heard something about what's his name? Who's the rapper? Somebody was like he had beef with somebody and that they did something. Then I heard something with his drink. Then I heard the vaccination. Then they said they were planning his funeral. Now I heard his daughter. Now his daughter is saying that like he's home and fine and resting.
Yeah.
But I did hear a vaccination. I heard. Because some people, when they got the vax, got real fucked. I think it was a small percentage, but some people got real fucked up. Yeah, like some shit happened to their body. I'm sure.
I mean, I'm sure that happened. I mean, if I've made the argument, and I'm not pro-vax. I just do I don't know nothing. I just do what the doctors, my doctor said.
Well, what I did was I got the vax, I got the Moderna, but I didn't do boosters because
I didn't do
because
boosters
I had it.
I've got it 4 times.
I had it twice. Here's the thing: I had it twice, so I had antibodies big.
Yeah.
And then I got the vaccination, and I was like, I heard that if you got it a lot and the vaccination, that the booster could be. I don't want to get sick with the booster, man.
Yeah.
So I haven't.
I had it. I've had COVID 4 times. So
you have?
I mean, I just
did you lose taste?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I would argue. I'm sorry, but I would just say I would argue like when people are like, oh, this percentage of people took it and got sick. I was like, if you give 7 billion people peanuts, a higher percentage of people would die than of the vaccination. That puts it in perspective. Like anything you give 7 billion people some people are going to have reverse effects.
Somebody's going to have an effect on some shit. Yeah. What were you going to say?
So 2 days ago, The Independent posted this story that his representatives claim that it had nothing to do with the COVID vaccine. Okay. They're saying none of that's true.
I heard he just had a stroke.
So that's probably what it is, but it hasn't stopped, according to them. All the far right-wing pundits are just like, no bullshit, it's the vaccine, because that's their job. But his official representative has said that there's no validity to that conspiracy. Yeah,
it's funny that the far right guys have kind of stuck on to that, because it was like, the vaccine was made during Trump's thing. That could have been one of his best, it is his biggest accomplishment, the fact that he was able to roll out.
Well, he rushed it too.
Yeah. Well, you had to.
You
had to, but even in hindsight, it still came out super quick. And in hindsight, it's still one of the things that, like, it didn't fail.
Well, the funny thing to me is anybody trying to die on a hill of something that they just don't fucking know.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody knows.
Whatever happened to just I don't know?
No, about everything.
Though. It's the internet,
about everything. How about I don't know about everything?
Yeah,
I wish. I don't know. Are there aliens? Are there UFOs? Yeah, I mean, some people. Yeah, I mean, I believe that. I believe.
Yeah.
By the way, was that alien?
The Vegas thing? Was it in Vegas?
Was that a real alien? Because I hear, that cop seemed like. Did you hear the cop?
Yeah. It was like body cam footage, right?
I heard it was either body cam footage or windshield footage.
It was body cam footage.
And he goes, dude, this thing is like 9 feet tall and it's not human. Like I said, I repeat, this is definitely not human. And the thing looks scared. And then somebody was going like, no, that's like CGI. But I showed somebody that knows.
Oh, they think it was like fake?
Well, they thought it was fake, but somebody that I showed it to, or somebody saw it and goes that were in law enforcement, go, that's how the law enforcement cam looks.
Yeah, the cop said. He goes, when he went to investigate it, he said, I normally wouldn't even come check this, but my partner said he saw something, so now it's valid. So the one cop was like, I definitely saw some shit. And now it's, they don't know.
I heard that Men in Black shit came.
Well, there's another rumor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Another view, somebody in a camping out in the desert, like in direct movement towards what is known as Area 51, saw some shit in the distance, and they used their scopes on their guns because they were just like hunting like muskrat or something. They saw some weird shit and reported it before all this stuff had come out. So it was like, then they described it the exact same way as if they were heading back to Area 51.
That's
which
wild.
is crazy. Yeah.
Well, I think, because I do believe aliens exist. I mean, I be going on deep dives to space. It seems like almost it has to. It's almost impossible that it's just us and the massive, how big space is.
Oh, yeah.
But I think a lot of the stuff, like with the aliens, I believe, like, it might be government stuff. Like, it might be like government things that they're developing, and they're just like.
Or, I think definitely if you look at the stealth bomber, when I went on Rogan, I talked about it, and then they actually proved in 1973, my dad, my mother, and my aunt and my grandmother saw a UFO that was over the Bronx and Yonkers, and my father is as real as it is. He thought that all those people that saw things like that were trying to get attention or crazy.
Yeah.
And he said this thing turned into he said something that he could hit with a rock or shoot with a gun. He said turned into a dot in the sky in 1 second. And he said he saw the windows on the thing, and then Rogan's producer pulled it up, and many people saw it, and I got people all over the world hitting me up, going, my dad was there. They knew,
Oh,
like
people saw
that
it?
shit
Okay.
happened in Yonkers in the Bronx. It went up, and my father said, he goes, whatever. He goes, I wish I didn't see it. Whatever it was, not from this world. But and the Jackie Gleason thing. Jackie Gleason's wife wrote a book when he died because he was friends with President Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
And he came home white as a ghost one time, and so they took him to a naval base, and he saw a body that was not human, and she wrote that in the book after he died. There's no doubt, but like that and then the thing in Brazil.
The Brazil
Yeah,
thing,
did you see that doc?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man, like that young guy who apprehended it,
Yeah.
and then he got sick and his immune system shut down,
Yeah,
and they all smelled sulfur. They all smelled that sulfur and like
terrible in the town.
and ammonia,
Yeah.
and they said like in the areas of those things where the sightings were, it stunk like that. And then the United States comes in and they take that fucking thing and leave.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that the United States is either the stealth bomber that we have that looks like a triangle.
Yeah.
I think that's a direct. I think that's like definitely something influenced.
Like they reverse engineered by something they
like
caught?
I think that they because a lot of sightings of UFOs, which I didn't realize come out of water. Did you know that?
No.
A lot of UFOs come out of water, and a lot of sightings of UFOs over the years. I know this sounds nuts, and this podcast took a turn, but hey, it's interesting shit. A lot are triangular lights. So like there's people that say like they looked up and there's like triangular lights at night. When you look at the stealth bomber that we have, that shit is like it is thin.
one.
It's a triangle. The way that it flies, you're like, oh, there could be some sort of scientists or engineers for the United States that saw a crash and said, oh shit, this is kind of maybe we could use this. I mean, what do I know?
The only thing that I think that makes sense, I've heard this, there's a theory, this guy on Rogan said it, but I follow the scientist. There's a theory where he was like, there's a theory out there that say if there were aliens or the UFOs in space, we would see it. Like they would have a footprint. Like they would build stuff. Like it's not they just built the UFO and came here. Like we can see billions of light years away, I believe. We would see.
You want to find a fun wormhole? Look up the Eye of Sauron.
What is that?
And it was used as fodder for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
As the Eye of Sauron, but it's this place in the sky that's like thought to be a black hole. But as time progresses and they start sending things and bouncing stuff back, they think that there's a massive civilization back there that is using light bending technology that makes it look like there's nothing there, but they're just hiding from the rest of the universe because it's like this crazy civilization. And then there's the Dark Knight or the Black Knight satellite That's another one that's like, it's been orbiting Earth pole to pole, which is what technology we hadn't had up until like 10 years ago. But there's this thing that's been rotating around the Earth ever since we've been looking in the sky.
Yeah.
And it looks like a transporter. It looks like a ship.
Yeah.
And they think that that's like a, they're scanning Earth.
Yeah.
Because they go pole to pole. So as we rotate side to side, it's like a scanner where it can continue to rotate and scan and see everything that's happening constantly.
That's wild.
And they think it's going back to this black hole, which is possibly a huge civilization.
I think if they were going to hurt us, dude, I really believe it. After, you know, the Roswell thing in the 40s and all that stuff, if aliens were going to hurt us, I think we'd have been hurt already, dude. It's been so many years. I don't think so. I think the Brazil thing, if that Brazil thing is true, and from when I watched that documentary, those people do not seem like they're lying. When that guy was crying and those women got ridiculed, they had nothing to gain. Those people in Brazil had nothing to gain. They got no money for that. As a matter of fact, they got made fun of, and they were the laughing stock of the town.
It ruined their lives.
It ruined their lives, dude. And the two 17-year-old girls ran away, and the one 21-year-old girl said the thing communicated like, I'm scared, get me out of here. I don't think in 2023 somebody's gonna say that after they've already been made fun of. I just don't believe that that's fake. But the craziest theory, and this is a guy that said this yesterday. He said it as a matter of fact. I mean, I saw the clip yesterday. He said that the moon is a spaceship. He said the moon is a spaceship, right?
I believe that.
Do you?
Jeez. I mean, I believe anything, to be honest with you, when it comes to aliens, because it's not.
We got the wrong guy behind the fucking.
No, it's not. I mean, I don't believe it, but I believe it's possible because we can't prove that it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Which is a fallacy in general. Just because you can't prove it doesn't mean it's
just
not
Google
provable.
anybody YouTube, because obviously we don't know. But this guy was so as a matter of fact about it. He was so as a matter of fact about it.
I mean, but he sounds crazy, right? Like, I don't know anything about science. I mean, I just watch what the scientists tell me. But that, I gotta assume that 99% of scientists will tell you this is not the case, right? So it's like, that's a fun theory. But I mean, people been on the moon.
Not on the dark side.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends who you ask too,
Not
right?
on the dark
How about
side,
you know
my
what's
friend.
weird though? When that guy that showed up with the Bible to all of them, he just goes. He went up nice. I mean, listen, it is annoying, so they probably don't. But he just went up to all of them with the Bible, and he goes, "Hey man, I don't mean to. Can you just put your hand on the Bible and just swear that you were on the moon?" And they were like, "Get this guy out of here!" And he goes, "I'm not trying to." He goes, "Can you just put your hand on the Bible and say I swear I stepped on the moon?" And none of them did it, and some of them were like, "This guy's a piece of shit, dude." They swing, and I'm going like, dude, that made me go like, if I'm somebody that really went, I'd be like, this is what I would say. I'd be like, dude, you know something? I don't like what you're doing, and I don't like that you're calling out me for something that I did and something that I achieved. But you know what? I know what I did, and I would put my hand on the Bible, I put it up, and I would be like, you know what? Yes, I did, and I'd look him in the face and go, yeah, because here's the thing. He's not coming up confrontate like. The only thing I could say is if they had beef before and they just hate him and they don't want him there. But when you watch the video of it, and anybody Google this, YouTube this, he just went up and goes, "Hey, how you doing? I'm so and so." And one guy was like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And he goes, "I was just, can you just swear, put your hand on the Bible and swear that you went?" And nobody did.
I mean, I would feel like if somebody came up to me like that, I might not do it. I'd be like, for what? Like, I don't care if you believe me or not.
They were like, Ian Lara, can you just put your hand on and swear that you did an HBO Max
I don't care
special?
if you believe it. Like,
But you'd be like, there's video, and would you get mad because they didn't know that they want to prove that you're on HBO?
I would get mad that I have to deal with this every day.
Okay, that's
like,
fair.
That it's like, this is not like a one-time occasion. I would get mad and think that like society, that nothing's real. Like if I actually did it and no one believed, I would just think like, all right, nothing's real. I wouldn't care.
I would be upset if I went to the moon and they were like, "No, you didn't." Like, I'm saying if I really did, because here, I'm, and especially at the time they did, man, you're taking a chance on your life. This is years and years ago.
Yeah.
You don't know what technology is. You're leaving your family. You're going out of our atmosphere, out of orbit, and you're stepping on the moon. You don't know if the equipment's going to work. You don't know what's going to happen. And you actually do it, and you plant an American flag up there, and it's a big national achievement, and somebody goes, "No, you didn't." Yeah. I would be like, "Fuck you, yeah, I did."
But couldn't you make an argument that we all live in that now? Like, you'll literally do something, and then like, especially if you're like, half of the internet would be like, "You didn't do." I mean,
well, yeah,
like people like there'll be a mass shooting, and people will be like, "Nah," and people like, I lost my kid, and
Jamie
they're like,
Foxx's people said,
yeah,
he didn't have a thing, and the other side's like, "Yes, he did."
Yeah. What do you mean, Jamie
Foxx did? They were like, "No, it wasn't because of the vaccine. It has nothing to do with it." And half the country's like, "Yes, it was."
Yes, it was. was.
Yeah.
Why? Because
People, I mean, people lost their kid in like a shooting, and then there was like a big group of people that was like, "This didn't happen," and you're like, I lost my child. And
that's crazy.
That's insane.
That's crazy to be like, because I guess you're talking about the Sandy Hook. Yeah, because there were weird reportings of it, but then people turn that into like, but you know what it is? Sometimes people just don't know. When you just don't know exactly how it went down, they like to go, oh, that's why.
But think about, you talk about like going to the moon. Think about on the news, like, because I saw a documentary on this. On the news, when Sandy Hook happened, there was people who were crying like about losing their child, right? They just lost their child, the person they loved the most, right? And then the internet, then there's some people, it was a small group, but there's a group of people on the internet that was like, you're a crisis actor. This is a lie. And it's like, I sell insurance. I've been selling insurance for 30 years. And people are like, no, you're a crisis actor. And it's like, I have family. Like, ask my family. Like, I grew up with, like, I've been this person my whole life.
That's wild.
That's insane.
All right, don't bring logic into our conspiracy.
All right, I'm sorry.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was having a great time talking about the
sorry.
I saw it. No, I'm kidding.
Dude, the funniest thing is Mike lit up when I said, the people think the moon's a spaceship.
Yeah, he's like,
he was like,
don't
yes,
get me
it
started
is.
on that.
Yes.
Hey, yes, it could be.
You're not a conspiracy guy, though.
No,
you're too reasonable.
I like the idea of conspiracy.
They're fun, but
they're just fun. I have a great time.
Yeah, but
you're not quitting your job and starting a website to fund. Oh, is that what you're doing now?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, I'm not actually recording this.
But people believe here's the thing, though. People believe the conspiracies that they want to believe.
Yes.
That's the thing. People believe the conspiracies that they want to believe, and if they're into space and aliens, then they're like, yo, it's it. And if they're not, they're like, no. And it's the same thing with politics.
Yeah.
You know,
you have any conspiracy you believe?
Oh, of course, I do. And I'll tell you right now. I mean, and this is, I know some people will get mad at this, but this is what I believe, and I never talked about this before.
Let's hear it.
But I think, and again.
I love the disclaimer. You
again,
do 3 disclaimers before you say this.
I did not vote.
But I don't believe in black people. I don't think they exist. I think they're just white people doing blackface.
I didn't vote for Trump or Biden. That's the truth.
Yeah.
I definitely think that, I don't know if it's the cause of the ultimate result.
Yeah.
But I definitely 100% think that all elections now are manipulated, and I think that when machines go bad in certain crucial counties, that's bullshit. I think it's on record that Philadelphia for 100 years. Look this up. This is true. Philadelphia for 100 years. And I know a buddy from there. My dad told me this. He studied political science. Philadelphia has been a corrupt city with elections.
I mean, but that's not a crazy take.
No. But it's I think that elections are, I think that it used to be where you had to pin a whore on somebody.
Yeah.
You had to pin somebody, you had to put somebody doing coke, or you had to find somebody on a
now
yacht.
That's like
did
plus.
you want me to look up 100 years of Philly has been corrupt? I think we can all just say yeah.
No,
I don't need to Google
I'm talking
that.
voter fraud.
I stopped Googling. I'm like, yeah, for sure you're right.
I'm talking like voter fraud.
Oh.
What I'm saying is, like, it used to be a politician would have to be caught doing something.
Now
or
you get caught with a hooker, just like you have a good chance. Of
but put it this way. Let me tell you this, and this goes for whatever you are, whatever party you're on. But my driver was driving me to the airport, and he said he drives far right Republicans and far left liberals, and he said, he said he was in a car, and one of this person, far left liberal, was like, yeah, they sent me multiple repeat mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
And it's like, so when you're voting through mail, and I just like things like that. Now, I'm not saying 100% I know the outcome of all the things, but one thing that I do know is that I don't think the outcome of what we see is really accurate. And so, yeah, that might not be a big conspiracy, but it does suck as an American to think that, like, votes really don't matter.
Well, do you think now, all right, so if Trump runs again, not to make it a political thing, but just like in conspiracy-wise, if Trump runs again and he wins, does it mean that, like, well, then there wasn't any? Because if we had the power, we would just do it again.
I think if Trump ran, I saw something in there, and this is what I saw. My buddy sent it. They took it down on Twitter. 2 weeks before the election, they took the shit down on Twitter. This is real shit. You can't find it, though. Yeah. But I saw it. The election's what? The election's November 8th, I believe, right? 2 weeks before Nancy Pelosi stood up on her podium, I swear to God, on my children, I saw this.
Yeah.
And my buddy from North Carolina goes, dude, look at this shit. What does this mean? She stood up and she went to her podium. This was 2 weeks before, it was around Halloween. And she goes, we know. She said it like this too, kind of almost arrogantly. And it was weird. It made me tilt my head like a fucking curious dog. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? She goes, we know, regardless of the count. Swear to God, she said those words, hand to God. She goes, we know, regardless of the count, he'll be inaugurated January 26th. Now, that could have just been her being a little...
they said that about Hillary, too, and they were just wrong.
That could have been her being arrogant. But it came off. It came off of social media. And when the words were, regardless of the count, and I think that's why it came... I think that's why it came off. But... Then there was another election recently, like local shit, where like a crucial county, they said, we're just having problems with the machines today. And I'm going like, no, dude, there's not a coincidence like that. So it's like, I feel like whoever gets elected now, that's what sucks as an American. I don't care if it's Trump, I don't care if it's Biden. I feel like now with mail-ins, with computers and technology, you can manipulate something and it's like, I don't know who's really getting the votes. And I also find it
Doesn't
weird.
matter really though anyway?
No, I guess, no. I guess not, and that's why that's why there's not really a big uproar. But when you see places that are like neck and neck, and then like last minute one takes like I just feel like all of elections now with all this shit, it sucks, man.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I get it. I mean, I feel like you could make a fair argument about it, but I mean, people who like concern their lives with it, I'm like, what does it matter?
Like that's what I said on stage. I was like, I don't care who gets elected. If you drop to your knees and scream at the sky, if you drop to your knees and you scream at the sky, you're like, how can this happen? It's like, that's like a mentally ill, like that's why I don't care.
Even if your guy wins and you're like your team just scored won the Super Bowl, I'm like, why? Who gives a like? Why do you?
Yeah, we're doing this again in 4 years.
Yeah,
and
like
those 4 years are gonna happen
and
quick.
also he's not gonna do what he said he was.
The United States has designed it where a guy can't do that much damage. They really did.
Right.
The 4 to 8 years can be. Look what happened. Obama was in for 8.
Yeah.
You know, Trump comes in, he does his thing. Then all of a sudden, Biden comes in, takes away his thing. We're not like Russia.
Right. Yeah.
We're not like China where they have like a 40-year reign.
Yeah.
They have a 40-year like communist, and it's like you're not fucking with that because you need to dig your heels in so long that it's part of the fabric of the country. We gotta know.
Like
we do this shit every couple years, and a guy goes, "Hey, we're gonna veto that.
The only
we're gonna veto that."
is the Supreme Court justices, because that is like Russia, right? Because like because you can elect them in their lifetime things, right?
Supreme Court is a lifetime,
and then they could reverse the rule like they did with abortion. So that's like the only real concern. But I've voted in the last few elections. I never had a candidate win, and I'm like just like, all right.
Local elections is where it's
I've
important.
never cheered.
Yeah, I never
or
cheered.
Didn't.
Or put a bumper sticker on my car.
Dude, if you go
with
home
the
and you're like,
I support, or hang a flag.
I mean, listen, if you put a bumper sticker on a car, you're mentally, that's crazy. I mean, if it's a piece of shit, but like, that's crazy.
But these guys, they fight to divide us, and it's supposed to be we're supposed to be on the same team, regardless of what you vote for. We're not supposed to be fighting each other for them. They're all in the same league.
I think
it's them versus everybody.
Right, they're the politicians. They're all in the same team. How about they have lunch together? They'll have lunch together.
6 weeks before the election, Hillary and Donald Trump were sitting next to each other at some fancy rich person dinner, roasting each other.
Right? Yeah,
the footage got out.
Dude, all the kids go to the same schools.
Yeah,
it's all bullshit, man.
They have the same employees. They'll fire one, and they'll now you'll come work for my campaign.
Look at, and again, this isn't political talk. We're just talking life. Yeah. Look at Ron DeSantis and Trump. We're boys.
Yeah,
and now all of a sudden, and then now he's like, man, fuck that.
He's good with the nicknames, man. He just freestyles them off the top of his head.
I said on stage, I go, dude, he's the one thing, like Trump or hate him, dude. That dude off the cuff is as good. The two that were epic was the Hillary, where he said, because you'd be in jail. That was a great one. But the one where he just came out on C-SPAN and he just goes, who knows? He goes, maybe I'll come back, beat him a third time. I'm like, that's gangster, dude. Like on a fly, as a comic.
Another classic one. He was on the panel when he was running for the Republicans the first time. It was 15 guys, and they were all chirp. He was in the middle, and they were all chirping stuff at him from the end. I forgot who it was, and he looked over. He was like, "I can't even hear what you're saying. You're so far off on the thing." Because the Republican was like, "He's like, they don't even have you in the shot. I can't hear what you're saying."
That's hilarious. Yeah. No, I talk on stage about how he's so polarizing that when you hate him or love him, when he's done talking, you really feel that much more when he's done.
Yeah,
because he's
that is entertaining. Because that's something I would that's like a comedian. comedian would say, like,
dude, for him to
you're
go
so
down and
far
be
down
like,
the
dude,
podium.
nobody's even paying. Dude, they don't even have you in frame.
Yeah,
you're not
in
even
the frame.
That's how little you
he was
matter.
Like, the camera can't reach over there.
I like the when Hillary accused him of using loopholes to not pay taxes.
Oh, he's like,
and that was his big gotcha, or her big gotcha, and he goes, yeah, I did. And so do your donors. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
like, what?
yeah.
No, he goes, I do the same. I have the same advantages of you and all your friends.
Yeah.
And it was just like, he admitted.
Killer.
You know what it was? It was almost like when Eminem in 8 Mile, when he freestyled all the shit he knew they were gonna say about him.
Yeah.
I think comics were the ones that knew immediately like he was going to win because we're all over the country.
Yeah.
We saw these people and we're like, oh, like my girl, like everyone was like,
I didn't think he was going to.
I didn't think so.
Dad,
I did have that experience. So I did go over there and I did see it, but I was a political science guy and it was just like every sign said no way.
I
was just going
knew he
with
was
that.
gonna win.
My dad was a political science major, and he said, Paul, he goes, I think he's going to win. And then I said, really? But my dad did tell me this. My dad said, what I thought I thought he was done. He said, I thought the nail in the coffin. I thought he dug his own grave when the grabbed him by the pussy. He said, because usually something like that. Yeah.
You're done. You did something like that, you're done.
I knew he was going to win because I voted 14,000 times. So I was like really helping him.
He didn't even back it down, like, bless you. He didn't even back it down with the grab by the pussy. He was like, yeah, they let you when you're a celebrity.
He goes, no, it's not bad when they say yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Some of them. Like, even now, he's like, yeah, you're a celebrity. Sometimes you can, which is, like, not factually incorrect.
You know what? And they keep arresting him. They're going to make him a martyr, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's already that.
They keep arresting him. People are going to be like, dude, I got to give the guy credit for this. I would be so emotionally shot, dude, thinking about federal prison. This dude leaves indictments.
Yeah.
And goes to a rally. Yeah. Like this dude will leave.
And look, again, I want to be clear because I don't want this to come out and people that we're talking just funny stuff.
Yes.
We're not.
Yeah, no, guys.
You got to watch his latest. He just got interviewed by Brett Baer on Fox.
I saw that.
And that's the first time I'm like, oh, he's faltering. He like doesn't have an answer for everything anymore, and he's like, what? Like
he was getting
the whole interview. He's like he's kind of like off his kilter.
He usually will just call you mean and nasty.
No, now he just doesn't. He doesn't have answers for this stuff anymore because they're using his own. Now, finally, all of his words are weaponizing against himself. So they're like, "This is what you said, and this is what happened." He's like, "Well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you."
He's like, "Well, that's what you think," or something. You know,
he's gonna be like, "That's what you think." He'll be like, "You're nasty." He'll just overtalk you.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like, that's the beautiful thing about not voting or being a registered independent is I find all this funny. Yeah. So people can listen to the end of this podcast and think we're talking politics. No, I'm talking hilarious shit where funny. I think a guy who just gets indicted and walks out of the courthouse with like 30 counts against him, and he's like, "We're going to Missouri," and you're like, "What?" And he's like, "I'm still gonna win." Yeah. And then here would be the real trip, though.
But now I'm still gonna win. I'm gonna win again. He thinks he won the second time, so he's like, "I'm gonna win for the third time."
He's like, "I'm gonna win for the third time," and then if he wins, he can pardon himself.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's never been done. There's like a constitution. It might go to the Supreme Court. Like it's like a constitutional debate on whether the president could pardon himself or not. But look, whether you like, if you're gonna sit here, whether you support him or not, and be like, some of the stuff is not funny. Some of the stuff is serious and affects people's lives. Right. But if you're gonna say some of it is not funny, I feel like you're being disingenuous.
If anybody thinks that some of the things that come out of all these people's mouths, you know, I had there were two gay women walked out of my show and. They walked out of my show in Tampa because I just simply did something that Biden did off stage. I'm doing a joke about how when Biden tries to leave the stage when he's done a speech, he looks like he was kidnapped. Yeah. And I'm doing this, and I just and I was just and I did no political. That's the thing. Yeah. I did no political. It was nothing about anybody's policy. Yeah. It was nothing political about Joe Biden. It was nothing political. It was no pro-Trump, anti-Biden, or vice versa. Nothing like that. I just simply talked about what I'm seeing with Biden. Yeah. You know, and these people were just dude, he falls. He's got dementia. You know, he's got all those things.
In my life, I've never seen anybody fall more. Like I've seen somebody fall like once in my life. I've never seen him fall again. I've seen him fall like 4 times.
Dude, he was walking a blind guy and shit. And I'm talking about it on stage. A blind guy guided him and shit. And it's funny. And people were just like, there were a couple people going, no. And it's like, but if you do that, if you're not understanding, like what I love is when somebody comes up and goes, hey, you made fun of Trump, but it was funny. Or,
Yeah.
hey, in the same show, you made fun of Biden. I had a woman tell me the other night, you really walked that political line where we don't know where you stand, and it was really funny. And
That's
that's what I'm trying to do. Because
the
I'm not trying to
main thing.
alienate anybody.
Yeah, no.
I'm not trying to alienate. Listen, it's America.
And I'm not preaching. I don't care who you vote for.
And listen, if you love
vote for your own interests,
100%,
whatever you find.
it's America.
Yeah.
If you vote for Biden and you love him, or you vote for Trump and you love him, and people are going to hate you because of that, that's ridiculous. You just have a different belief than somebody.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me the shit's not funny.
Yeah.
You can't tell me the things Donald Trump says are not funny, and you can't tell me the shit that Joe Biden does when he's falling asleep.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, he
funny.
fell asleep. The guy from the president of Greece was talking to him, and dude was, I think it was Greece, and they were sitting there, and he just goes like this.
Yeah.
And the guy kept talking, and then after a while, you see the guy go like Biden just went like this. Dude, Biden rested his eyes during a meeting with another country.
When did it become like, as comedians, you're not allowed to make fun like of the president? Like, when is
Remember
that
Saturday Night Live with Gerald Ford?
Yeah.
Saturday Night with Gerald Ford. Chevy Chase would come to the top of the stairs, and he'd roll down the stairs, and it was just like, it's like we're joking about it.
Yeah, we're joking.
It doesn't matter. See, this is the thing. Now it's become, wait a minute, what party is that fell down the stairs?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not that. It's just a grown man fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
And you
we're
know.
joking. Like, this is where it goes back to what you're saying. When you don't understand the sarcastic undertones to like a bit, and you take it like as like we're trying to say this is the thing, like we're just talking shit. Like it's like
just talking shit.
Even when it's smart, it's still just us like talking shit. I know Giannis in his last special, he had the Liberal Airlines versus that bit is hilarious.
Yeah.
That bit, he opens a special. He's like, I think I'm gonna do the rest of my life as a woman. Like, that's hilarious. Like, he's obviously being sarcastic. He's like, I'm gonna be trans. Like, why not? He's like, let me do it. He's obviously being sarcastic. Like, it's not offensive to nobody. It's just sarcasm.
Nobody's trying to really be offensive.
No, he's trying to be funny.
And we're comics.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing. It's like, we're as a comedian, if you take it like that. But I also do think that if you take a comedian seriously like that, and you were never gonna be a real fan.
Yeah.
You were never going to be a fan.
You know, the problem is that some comedians toe the line of like, sometimes they're joking and then sometimes they're like doing political podcasts. So you're like, I don't know which one is which. So the lines get blurred, I guess, kind of, because it's like.
Well, I think one thing that I think late night. Okay, I think late night. We'll get, this has turned into a great conversation with everything, with the UFOs and all this, but like Stephen Colbert, he went from doing the Colbert Report, which was a joking a character, but then now he kind of took it over to late night. And I also do think, if I'm being honest, I think a lot of late night have kind of taken political stances, and I think that makes the other side defensive, because when you see people that have the power of television, it makes you angry because you don't have that power.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that's really the truth. So like, anytime, like, if one side has such a voice, it's going to make the other people go, whoa, what's up? And that's the problem, man. I think people have now. I saw something in a cigar bar. I went to visit my dad. By the way, I didn't see my dad in 3 years since the pandemic. And then I was going to go last year, and there was a spike in West Palm Beach. So that made it so I had to wait, but I was in Tampa. I had to see my dad. So I go see my dad, and we're talking. And this is how times have changed. Do you ever see the movie Sleepers?
No, I never seen
Okay, you ever see Sleepers, Mike?
Long time ago,
Yeah. Sleepers was about basically like priests that like sexually abuse these boys.
Yeah.
And they get revenge. They find them older, and they find them in a bar in New York. But anyway,
really powerful.
In that bar, there's two guys talking, and they're talking politics and religion. And this guy goes, "Hey," he goes, "None of that shit in here. No politics and no religion in here. We're trying to, and I actually realized what he meant, because my dad and I saw each other for the first time in 3 years, and we go to a cigar lounge.
Yeah.
My dad, we ate. Me and my dad, we just sat at this Italian restaurant. We ate across.
I love the bit where you're like, nah, I brought my family. He's like, this is so good.
Oh yeah, no, he did that shit. My dad will do that. My dad will be like,
everyone brought their family.
Yeah, he'll be in a fan. He'll go, nah, I brought my family for this.
Okay,
So it's like, it's a family restaurant. Everybody brought their family. But my dad and I we eat this Italian food, and we have a good time. He says, you want to go to a cigar lounge? And we go to this cigar lounge, Ian, and we're sitting there, and we light our cigars, and we're just talking. I got a little bourbon. Yeah. I'm with my dad. I haven't seen him in 3 years, and it's life right there. Yeah. And there's this fucking loudmouth guy. This loudmouth, shaved head. He's got a button down suit. He's just fucking loud. He's going like this. Well, the problem, and dude, and I'm talking like Mike is what? 10 feet from us, not even. He's so double what Mike is, so not far.
Yeah.
This guy's like, and he's just sitting there with his other dude, and he's smoking. He's arrogant. You could tell he's going, well, you know, man, the thing with Trump is, you know, they're going to indict him. They're going to do this. And then another guy comes in and he goes, well, that's the problem. And this dude is yelling about politics. And I'm sitting with my dad and I wanted somebody to go, hey, man. And listen, I don't care if I disagree with you or agree with you.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're making everybody in here uncomfortable with your loudmouth bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not okay, man. I'm here, and it's just a cigar lounge. Yeah. There's certain things need to be sacred.
Right.
You go to
a church.
Yo, that's like a church for gentlemen.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, gentlemen's church.
Yo, a cigar lounge is like a church for gentlemen. Yeah. You go to a cigar lounge.
I had a couple of sticks this weekend.
Oh, did you? Yeah, dude, we got it next time. We'll do that, man. You got to come up to the house in the country. You'll love it. But you know, you go to a cigar lounge, man, you sit in a leather chair, you with your dad, you want to have a bourbon, you want to smoke, and this guy's just yelling about politics, and I'm going, like, what's he getting out of that? Like, that's like for him.
Yeah.
That's like his, like...
I feel like if it's about sports, it's okay.
100%.
It's like way better if
it's about sports.
I might get in it if it's about sports.
I'm even cool if it's like a vacation destination. I'm okay if they start talking real estate. If they're like, hey man, you know what? A pool doesn't add that much value. I'm like, okay. But when you start talking about what your beliefs are and what you think, all you're doing is trying to bring people into your world. It made it uncomfortable, man.
Well, I was like a political science guy, like your dad. I got a degree in political science. I was pre-law in college, and I fell out of it. Like I just lost the love for politics. But I don't mind engaging with people about political conversations. But if I'm gonna do it, I try to be like I try to make it known from the gate, like, dude, first of all, like, whatever your views are, I'm okay with that. Like, you're allowed to have your views. I know you're just voting for what you think is your best interest. So let's have civility with this. I don't think one thing or the other. Let's argue with civility. I might disagree with you, but like, it's just because I think these are for my best interest. You think these are for your best interest. I get that.
That's exactly why Ian Lara was a guest on the Virzi Effect. That's exactly what it is, dude. I think somebody voted for Trump and doesn't think he's racist and thought it was best for the country.
I'm an oil guy in Oklahoma who was like in Tulsa. Shout out to him. He's a comic, but he was like Trump getting elected has cost me like $3 million because I do oil. And he shut down the pipeline. It's like, are you telling me, who's telling me that they're not going to vote for a guy that's going to cost them $3 million if he don't win? That's
the thing. And if you come up to me and you go, hey, man, I voted for Biden because I just wasn't with that Trump policy and I like that, I'm not going to, I'm going to be like, okay. And if you vote for Trump, okay. I'm not going to hate you or vilify you either way. Stop vilifying people, man.
I mean, I'm pro, I'm like really, I feel like people claim on once, they'll claim that they're pro-America, but it's like you're alienating other Americans too. Like if you're pro-America, you have to be like accepting of like everyone and all the things that they believe, right? It's
like when I hear a lot of people talk about like illegal immigrants and I'm looking at it like here, all I'm thinking is this, okay? If I was not from this country, I would try to cross that line.
Yeah, I would too.
I would try to cross,
would they? Everyone. Like,
I would take my baby, throw it over the wall.
Yeah, sure.
I would do whatever I could. So when I look at that and I'm going, hey, if you're trying to get here, and I think about my grandmother coming from Sicily at 10 years old, didn't speak a lick of English. I think of all that. So like, I mean, listen, I don't think people should come illegally and do the drug thing.
Yeah,
you know, that shit,
of course.
You know what I mean?
Those are criminals. I think everyone agrees on that.
Like you don't cross lines and do crimes and have that. But like, as far as like trying to get to a doper country, like I'm all about that.
Yeah, right. For sure. I have a bit about that. I have a bit about that. Like, my parents, they came to this country. They weren't born here. They came legally, but they came to this country.
Well, Dominican Republic.
From Dominican Republic. And then they'll be like, oh, we came to this country to give you a life. And I'm like, you came to America though. Like, this is way like. It was better. Like you didn't come. It's not like you did the reverse. Like you were in a great situation, and then you came to a shitty country to give me a better life. You came to America. This is like a good. This is like it was like a good move. But one thing about the late night things that I would say, I feel like sometimes they politicize opinions which aren't really political. It's an opinion that generally everyone can agree on, but then the two sides make you fight over it. Like, and make you think that like one side is for this. It's like, no, we're not for it. Like, I've read something that like common sense gun laws, like almost 90% of the country agrees that like there should be some regulation. And like most people don't agree that there shouldn't be guns. Like most people, especially if you live in a suburban area in a private home, like you should be able to carry guns. They should just believe there should be some regulations. But the both parties make it think like one party wants to take it away and the other party wants to give everyone an AK-47.
Right, and all you're trying to do is just like be in the middle and
most
try
people
to
are just in the middle where it's like, maybe you shouldn't get one if you're a kid or have mental issues, but you should be able to have one to protect your family. Right?
I think anybody who is not for somebody with a mental issue shouldn't have a gun. Yeah. If you have if you can argue with me that somebody who's mentally ill probably should have a hard time getting a gun, then I can't fuck with you.
I've heard people make that argument where they're like, it's not the government's right to regulate
No.
that.
Like, honestly, like, if I will sit down and just, and listen, if somebody gets mad at me, they get mad at me or whatever. But if you don't think that it should be hard or harder for somebody with a mental illness to get a gun, then you're really not paying attention. I just feel like, you're talking about
crazy.
but I also think people don't understand what real mental illness is.
Yeah.
And real mental illness, dude, and we've talked about this on the show, depression, suicidal thoughts, okay, anger issues. Mental illness could do it. So having the option of a deadly weapon when you have that going on in your mind is a really scary fucking thing.
Yeah.
So for somebody to not even consider that, those people can't be talked to.
Yeah. And I agree 100%. And I'm from New York. You know, we don't have guns. Like, you don't see guns here unless you're kind of a criminal or you go upstate. I mean, but I believe a person should be able, especially you go to some of these towns, you're like, yes, you need a gun in your house to protect your family. The cops won't come for 30 minutes. You live in the middle of nowhere.
As you're telling me this, I'm just thinking about how fucking stupid John Morant was in the car doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going like, he was like, he was just flaunting it around.
Yeah.
Ian, I could talk to you, man. I could talk to you like this was probably one of the most seamless Virzi effect.
Oh, good, man.
A real honest conversation, great podcast, great listen. I think the Virzi effect listeners, whether they're at work, in a car, at a gym, I think that this was an incredible listen, and we're gonna do it again. Next time we do it, we're gonna smoke sticks.
For sure,
and we're
man.
gonna have a good time. Please plug everything and anything you had, and please check out his special on HBO Max. What's it called?
Yeah, romantic comedy.
Romantic comedy on HBO. Super funny guy that I've watched work his way up and get better and better and better. He's been on the Tonight Show. He's a super funny guy, and he's going to continue to grow. Plug all your shit, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me. This is like one of those podcasts where I was like, I'm looking forward to doing it because I'm like, the people that like you, because I like you, so I'm like, the people that like you, like, will be the same. Like, the people
that, I will tell you this, and this is true, the diehard Virzi people, man, and I really appreciate it because I felt it. I felt it on the road, and I felt the love in Tampa, man. And everybody that came out in Tampa, I honestly can't thank you guys enough. People saying this is the third time I saw you. This is like somebody that reminds me of me. This is like another me, and he's doing it in the city the way that I did it. So if you like me and you like the way I think, this is really the next dude. Like me, I feel like the closest. You're like the closest to me.
I appreciate you saying that.
You know,
man.
and he's a Knicks fan.
Yeah, diehard.
So plug your stuff.
Knicks and Giants, baby.
Yes.
So you can follow me. I'm at Ian Lara Live on Instagram. It's ianlaralive.com for all my tour dates. I'm on the road crazy. I'm on the road every weekend.
So check out all of his road stuff, guys. And again, I want to thank everybody who was in Idaho, Atlanta, Tampa, and I'm winding down the first leg of the tour. We did so many major cities, but we're going to ramp it back up here in the fall and some summer stuff too. I'm doing one night, guys, June 28th at the Houston Improv. Okay, it's a Wednesday night. It's a big room, so get tickets. It's a week from today. Get in there. And then the next night, Thursday, the 29th, I'm at the Addison Improv. And then we just added some November dates. I got a big announcement for New Year's Eve, New York City. I usually don't work New Year's Eve in New York, or I usually don't work New Year's Eve. I like to be home with my family, watch the ball drop. New Year's Eve, I got a big announcement, a cool venue, New York City. So hold the date for that for New Year's, and go to for all my dates, go to paulvirzi.com. Check out me and Bobby Kelly's Bone to Pick podcast with Mikey. It's blowing up. The Virzi Effect, we are back in studio now, so thank you so much for that. And me and Bill Burr do anything better bi-coastal, but we're going to ramp up the BetMGM stuff for the NFL picks. So until next time, I'm out of here, and thank you for being here, brother. Appreciate you, and I'll see you guys next week.